If I'm easy work, I heard him say I'm easy work. If I was easy work, well, you would take all that money that he's offering you. But yet and still, he want 200 million for Benavidez, and he want 150 million to fight me. So that just lets me know right there that I'm a threat to him.
Maybe someone's reacted to that news. I don't know, or maybe it just fell through. No. But it sounds to me that the move to fight Jake Paul has just maybe derailed the other fight. But I don't blame Canelo Alvarez, because financially, the bigger fight is Canelo-Jake Paul. Yeah. Because in that fight, you've got two big stars. Yeah. In the other fight, you've got two great fighters and one big star.
Terence Crawford fires back as Canelo's super fight collapses. Jake Paul, blamed for fallout. Terence Crawford has fired back at Canelo Alvarez following shocking reports that their blockbuster fight has officially fallen apart. Once touted as a potential all-time great showdown, the dream matchup has now crumbled, leaving fans stunned and disappointed. Initially, things looked promising. As per Ring magazine, both fighters had agreed to terms for a historic clash in Nevada later this year. The bout promised to be a battle between two of boxing's most accomplished champions, a true generational spectacle. But in a dramatic twist, fresh updates indicate that the fight is now off. Negotiations reportedly broke down due to unresolved tensions between both camps. And while contractual disputes are being cited, an unexpected name has entered the conversation: Jake Paul. Social media has erupted with reactions, many pointing fingers at Canelo for allegedly ditching the Crawford bout in favor of a more marketable and less dangerous fight with YouTuber-turned-boxer Jake Paul. Boxing commentator Peep Games posted on X, formerly Twitter, "It's official. Canelo Alvarez ducked the #1 pound-for-pound fighter, Terence Bud Crawford. Canelo is now the undisputed biggest coward in boxing history." The backlash has been intense. Rumors suggest Canelo is looking at a tune-up match with Paul, sparking outrage among purists who believe he's sidestepping legacy for payday. One of the most outspoken critics is Turki Alalshik, the man financially backing major boxing events under Riyadh season. Alalshik, who played a key role in trying to secure the Canelo vs. Crawford bout, has slammed the growing influence of influencers in professional boxing, warning that it's damaging the sport's credibility. Now, with the super fight in ruins and fans in uproar, big questions loom. Will Crawford find another top-tier opponent? Will Canelo respond to the criticism? And most controversially, is a Jake Paul showdown actually happening?
And Terence Crawford, who should be a big star, but the reality is isn't. He's just an unbelievable fighter. So listen, everything can change overnight, as you saw.
Yeah.
So don't rule out Canelo Crawford. But as I'm hearing, Canelo Jake Paul is done, and I get it. Yeah, I'll watch it.
Mad old game. Eddie, always a pleasure, mate. Really appreciate the time.
Listen, buck up your ideas.
Jake Paul rumors, contract drama, and missed history. Why Canelo vs. Crawford collapsed? Rumors are swirling that Canelo Alvarez's growing interest in a potential showdown with Jake Paul may have played a key role in derailing what could have been one of boxing's biggest modern-era matchups: his long-anticipated clash with Terence Bud Crawford. Many fans had hoped to see Canelo take on IBF titleholder William Skull, a fight that would have helped him reassert dominance at super middleweight and potentially reclaim undisputed status. Instead, talk shifted toward a very different spectacle: a crossover bout with a YouTuber whose most notable recent win was over 58-year-old Mike Tyson. X, formerly Twitter, a user going by Canelo Lesnar, summed up the mood perfectly. Although it's still unclear why Canelo vs. Crawford was cancelled, many insiders speculate that a simple demand may have triggered the dispute. Reportedly, after Crawford made bold remarks about Teofimo Lopez, Canelo demanded that Crawford fight Lopez next, a surprising condition that may have derailed negotiations entirely. Meanwhile, speculation about Canelo vs. Jake Paul continues to build. While there's no concrete proof that serious talks happened, many fans noticed that the venue for the Canelo-Crawford fight was quietly shifted from T-Mobile Arena to the larger Allegiant Stadium, a move that fueled even more curiosity and controversy. Would Canelo really take on Jake Paul? For a four-division world champion holding the WBO, WBA, and WBC belts, it seems unlikely, at least from a legacy standpoint. But in an era where spectacle often trumps substance, even the faintest possibility can spark real consequences. Fans are clearly fed up. One wrote, "Boxing is a joke sometimes, announcing fights before the contracts are even finalized." Another said, "They got us all hyped just to break our hearts in pieces." The cancellation stings even more because of what could have been a true pound-for-pound clash between elite champions across weight classes. Instead, fans are left with disappointment and a lot of unanswered questions. Some believe the breakdown came down to the fine print. One popular fan theory? That the winner of Canelo versus Crawford would have been contractually obligated to face dangerous super middleweight David Benavidez next. A high-risk follow-up fight that may have scared off both sides. Benavidez, fresh off a big win over David Morrell, recently told Ariel Helwani he'd rather face Dimitri Bivol next. If Bivol, who beat Canelo in 2022, wins his next fight, it could completely shake up the super middleweight picture once again. Not everyone sees the cancellation as a total loss. Some argue it may have been a smart move for Crawford. Bud can't make 168. That cash grab would have just hurt his legacy, one fan pointed out. And that's the dilemma. While Crawford is arguably one of the most talented fighters of this era, moving up 2 weight classes to fight a powerhouse like Canelo was always going to be a risky leap. For a brief moment, fans believed the impossible was actually happening. But now, what was shaping up to be a historic bout between 2 modern legends has been shelved, and the future of boxing's biggest names remains as uncertain as ever.
Then are you, David, that you will fight the winner of Better Be a Bivol?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. To be honest, the only thing that I'm thinking about is that if Bivol wins this fight, like what they would have to do a rubber match. You know what I mean? And like I'm just like thinking, who am I to say that they can't fight another fight because they fought 2 great fights. So that's basically the only thing I'm thinking of right now. But I would, if that's something like that would happen, I think I wouldn't fight until they get that done with, and then I would move into that fight after they have a trilogy. So that's really the only thing I'm thinking right now.
But that would be a long break for you. Like, let's say conceivably they fight again.
Crawford eyes history as Canelo drama unfolds and Benavidez waits in the shadows. Terence, Bud. Crawford stands on the verge of etching his name into boxing immortality. With the chance to become the first male fighter in history to claim undisputed titles across 3 weight classes, Crawford isn't just chasing greatness, he's redefining it. But with the Canelo-Alvarez fight now seemingly off the table, Crawford faces a critical decision. Wait around for a mega fight that may never happen, or continue his legacy chase by taking on other elite threats in his Division .1 name that's quickly gaining traction. Sebastian Fundora. The towering, unorthodox southpaw has already exchanged some heated words with Crawford on social media, and fans are starting to take the idea seriously. A fight between the two would present a unique challenge. Fundora's reach and awkward style versus Bud's surgical precision, elite timing, and cold-blooded fight IQ. Still, the Canelo question lingers. Would Alvarez truly risk his legacy, and a possible 3rd career loss, by stepping in the ring with Crawford? It's a fight filled with high-risk, high-reward stakes. Crawford's cerebral, tactical approach could frustrate Canelo, but Alvarez's brutal bodywork, granite chin, and deep championship experience make him a nightmare for any fighter, regardless of skill. And then there's the silent threat, David Benavidez. Benavidez has lurked in the background of every Canelo conversation for years. His relentless volume, suffocating pressure, and raw power have made him one of the most feared names in both the super middleweight and light heavyweight ranks. If he captures undisputed status at 175, it may be impossible for Canelo to dodge him any longer without serious legacy. Face a bigger, more physically dominant fighter like Canelo? Some argue that Bud's skill set is so elite, he can neutralize size. Others see it as an unnecessary risk that could tarnish a legacy he's worked so hard to build. Amid all the noise, the stakes couldn't be higher. Greatness through other champions? Will Canelo silence the critics and face either Crawford or Benavidez? And will Benavidez finally get the showdown he's been chasing for years? One thing's certain, the next chapter in boxing is shaping up to be explosive, and fans are ready for fireworks.
We'll see. I'm gonna rest and talk with my team, and like I say, everybody asking for everything, but and I always did. I always fight with everybody. You asking, so but right now I'm in the position I can ask him to. So I'm in the position I can ask him to, and I can do whatever I want, and we'll see what happens.
Crawford's dream fight crumbles as Jake Paul rumors hijack the spotlight for nearly a year. Terence Crawford chased a legacy-defining showdown with Canelo Alvarez, a fight that had the potential to become one of the most iconic events in modern boxing history. With the full backing of Saudi boxing chief Turki Al-Sheikh, who has emerged as a global power player in the sport, momentum was building fast. Behind the scenes, negotiations were progressing. Reports suggested a deal was close. Announcement might drop during the mega UFC 306 event in September. Then came a moment that lit boxing Twitter on fire. Fresh off his emphatic win over Edgar Berlanga, Crawford went live on Instagram alongside Alshik and publicly called out Canelo. The energy was electric. Alshik, clearly all in, didn't hesitate. Yes, let's go. Canelo, come on. We are ready. Me in the game. Canelo versus Crawford. The biggest fight in boxing. We stay ready so we don't have to get ready. For a brief, shining moment, it felt like history was about to be made. The world prepared for a super fight between two pound-for-pound greats, backed by Saudi power, global attention, and undeniable legacy stakes. And then, everything changed. Whispers of a possible Canelo versus Jake Paul matchup began to emerge. At first, it seemed too ridiculous to take seriously. Jake Paul, a YouTuber-turned-boxer with 0 wins over ranked professionals, couldn't possibly replace a generational clash with Terence Crawford. Right? But the rumors didn't go away. In fact, they spread like wildfire. Social media picked up the scent. Speculation turned into headlines. What started as internet noise became a dominant conversation, and the outrage was instant. Fans and pundits alike were stunned. The idea that Canelo, the unified super middleweight king, would even entertain a bout with Jake Paul while Crawford stood ready and waiting felt like a betrayal to the sport. Critics were brutal. Why chase a circus act for cash when greatness is right in front of you? The backlash was intense. Disappointment, disbelief, and frustration. And as the noise around Jake Paul grew louder, the dream fight, Canelo versus Crawford, quietly began to fade into the background. What once felt like destiny is now just another what if in boxing's long list of missed moments.
But it may be a done deal. Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez. Early thoughts? What do you think?
Yeah, look, the first thought is, can he handle the weight jump? Can he handle the weight jump? He being Crawford against Madridov, people are going to say, "Oh, he had some hiccups." Who don't have hiccups? When you eat something that's a little difficult to eat, and Madrimov was a little difficult to eat. He's not easy to digest. He's a good fighter. When you eat something that's a little tough to digest, you get hiccups, right? So come on, he's human. So he had a few hiccups. He won the fight. He's Terence Crawford. A lot of people say, "Oh, Teddy, you make him so good. You're always saying how great Crawford is." But who's he beating? He unified the, what was his first division? Lightweight, then he unified the junior, then he unified the junior welter, then he unified the welter. I think I got the weight classes right. It doesn't.
Spectacle over substance? The Jake Paul effect clouds Canelo's path at this point. The outcome of any potential Canelo-Alvarez fight has almost become secondary. The real headline? The chaos of speculation, driven by little more than whispers and the relentless hype machine that surrounds Jake Paul. Without a single punch thrown, the buzz has become deafening, controversy into currency. And in the middle of it all, one of boxing's biggest names is now at the heart of an identity crisis for the sport. Respected boxing analyst Showbiz the Adult summed it up bluntly. The real fight is Canelo versus Crawford. That's what people want. While acknowledging that Canelo would likely be the favorite in that matchup, Showbiz emphasized that a bout with Terence Crawford would be meaningful, competitive, legacy-shaping, and worthy of the sport's highest standards. In contrast, a fight with Jake Paul? More circus than championship. Still, he didn't ignore the financial reality. Canelo needs a May opponent who doesn't really threaten his record or reputation. In other words, business is booming, even if the competition isn't. From a revenue standpoint, the numbers don't lie. A fight with Jake Paul could easily generate more money than one with Crawford, despite the lack of sporting credibility. That's the world we live in, Showbiz said with a shrug. The hate for Jake Paul alone could fill an arena. And he's not wrong. The outrage over Paul's upcoming fight with a nearly 60-year-old Mike Tyson has only made him more relevant. Love him or loathe him, Jake Paul knows how to stay in the headlines. And in this era, that's often more valuable than championship belts. And a strange twist, some fans are now casting Canelo as a kind of boxing avenger, the last line of defense against the influencer invasion. The sentiment of, let Canelo teach him a lesson, is growing, especially among purists who feel the sports soul is being eroded by social media stunts and novelty bouts. But Showbiz isn't the only insider weighing in. Ariel Helwani, host of the MMA Hour, also addressed the rumors on the Ariel Helwani show. While he didn't confirm anything, he acknowledged the draw. If this is true, what a freaking year for Canelo Alvarez. 2 gigantic paydays. One against Jake Paul. Another potentially against Terence Crawford. Either way, millions will be made, and Canelo remains a top-tier attraction, even if the matchups leave purists cringing. The debate rages on. Is a fight with Jake Paul a betrayal of boxing's roots? Or is it just smart relevant half the battle? Critics argue it cheapens Canelo's legacy. Supporters say it's a low-risk, high-reward move. But as the line between sport and entertainment blurs more than ever, one truth stands tall. Jake Paul knows how to hijack the spotlight. And in today's fight game, staying visible might be the most powerful move of all.